Welcome back, everyone. Well, as many of you know, and you should know, is that February is Black History Month. And no mention of Black History Month would be complete without delving a bit into the long thread and the tradition that American music owes to the black vocal tradition, especially from the Reconstruction era on. And joining me today is someone who is a recent visitor here on Look TV, and when he and I started talking about this, I knew he had to come back again. This is Garland Nelson. Hey, Garland, welcome. And you brought a special guest.
Yeah, I would hand you my right hand right now, but I'm a little preoccupied with this. So this is my daughter, Imani.
This is Imani
and
Nelson.
And Swahili means faith.
Yeah, well, I figured you would have a name that actually meant something.
Now we're blessed.
So much for Betty, huh?
Yeah.
Yes. Hey, welcome back first. It's great to have you back again. With that open, many of us, anybody interested in music at all, we have our favorite artists and we have our favorite type of music. But it all really stems from actually a much smaller pool of artists. And when it comes to pivotal black artists, especially from the Reconstruction period on, it could not be more influential in any kind of music that you hear today.
Well, interestingly enough, when you think about a people, that's really what it came down to. I'll argue that without the black vocal tradition by way of the African diaspora, American music as we know it wouldn't have it. And it was functionalized, of course, throughout time, but a lot of the times, exactly, Mama. It was functionalized, of course, during the 1800s, primarily under the Reconstruction with artists like Harry T. Burleigh, but it was about a people's style by way of the call and response tradition that really kind of galvanized this American idiom that we call music, so that's pretty cool.
Well, you know what, and there's an honesty in there by, they say you can never play the blues unless you felt it. And there's an honesty in the traditions of this music that actually make it excel. I want to read something about Harry Burleigh. He's a baritone, African-American classical composer, arranger, and professional singer. This is at the time of the Reconstruction, folks, right after the Civil War. He was the first black composer to be instrumental in the development of a characteristically American music and helped to make black music available to classically trained artists, both by introducing them to the music and by arranging the music in a more classical form, a form that they would understand, right?
Absolutely, and I think what was cool about that, what was amazing about what he did, and artists like him at the time, is he took what was seemed almost tribal-like to most Exactly. That is what would be deemed like most tribal-like style, and functionalize it and made it more palatable by basically, for those who follow music, the use of the flatted third and the flatted third in this case of kind of just making the whole vibe change, and the flatted seventh, the blues scale.
That's right.
Using it that way, and then using the call and response style, not in a traditional classical sense of a canon, but just really using it almost kind of what people were doing on the plantation when they were singing plantation songs or spiritual Negro hymnals. Changed everything. And it made it, in a sense, more palatable to those who weren't exposed to it, and at the same time uplifted and enriched the tradition that made it seem like we are a part of this American fabric of style and music.
Boy, that's really well said, Garland. I want to cycle back on something. This flat third and flat seventh that Garland is talking about makes a major into a minor, and includes that grace note, that third to the flatted third and the seventh to the flatted seventh. And that's that tradition of what we would tend to know as the blues, where the music slides between a major and a minor feel for emotional emphasis. It's stunning. It always has been.
And what's cool about it, you think about it, the way it began in the first place, by slavery. This style, there was no place on the planet Earth they utilized that sense of call and response and that sense of the stale, but it was really kind of centralized around the drum.
Right.
And that was this is why the whole program that I have called Shout It Out was really instituted around the drum.
Which was the major form of communication.
That was it. That was
right.
The sense of everyone followed as a master to a compai, that kind of thing. But what essentially happened after slavery stripped these people of their instruments. It stripped them of their ability to centralize their culture around that sense of call and response, that tribal aspect. And there was nothing to communicate that with. And keep in mind, from all areas of Africa, the people who came over in the ship, that was one of the central tenets, even though they spoke different languages, they spoke different dialects.
That's right.
But that particular idiom transferred by way of the slave ship. You know, I think about these pictures of a representation. Imagine everyone in the United States being represented here on a ship. You know, the only difference is, you know, we have a key language here. They didn't.
No, they didn't.
But they definitely had cultural aspects that came over. So over the term of slavery in America, they were able to reinstitute the style, the rhythmic, the polyphonic nature of it into a vocal form.
Well, it became a common language, is what it really became, you know? And that's still to this day. I just watched the Grammys the other night, and Beyonce did a spectacular performance, and it was so based in everything that we're talking about right here. You know what? I want to, the timing was great for Garland to come in, because as many of you know, this weekend is Dance Flurry in Saratoga. There's an interview with the organizer of Dance Flurry on our website if you want to know more about that. But Garland does a workshop that's actually a four-part
workshop,
which is going to be distilled down. That's okay. She can rule. She rules. It's going to be broken down from a 4-hour to a 1-hour workshop called Shout It Out. And in that 1-hour workshop, which is Sunday at 1 p.m., you don't want to miss this. Very interactive workshop. But tell us about the Shout It Out.
Yeah, the whole genesis behind it is Sankofa. Sankofa is a phrase.
It's a term.
It's a term.
Yeah,
that,
right.
You know, to learn from the past for the future. And I think those who are really interested in trying to galvanize and understand where we are now, you have to look backwards.
Yes.
In order to know where we're going. And as my daughter, of course, is figuring out by jumping back and forth. But essentially, what I find to be the most interesting thing about it is just what Shout It Out. 4 components are going to be squeezed into 1 hour. Have a seat here, Mama. Going to be squeezed into 1 hour this upcoming week, and then we have an extended hour. And I join forces with people like, you know, Reggie Harris and some other people to extend this participatory plantation song sing-along. And it is meant to really not only uplift the spirit, but really talk about how in one people, we all, regardless of what color you are, what ethnic group you come from, we all have a sense of being tied together through a common experience of struggle. And if we can figure out how much we relate to that, that makes everything all the better.
Well, then, of course, you go into that central question of always asking the question, why?
Why?
Right?
That is the foundation of that. As a young man whose life was changed around by way of the autobiography of Malcolm X. This is like Mama. Mama. Imani's singing, so you're gonna be singing with us
sing
on
like
Sunday.
your dad?
That's right. Even though I want you to be a scientist, that's a different story. But essentially, what we find out, that question of asking why allows us to realize the human spirit, when oppressed, will always find a way to manifest. Right. And that's what this is about.
Well, there's a joy and a happiness in there too that you're talking about, which, regardless of the struggle, is a vehicle for a way out of that, right?
So all right. This is my joy. This is my joy right here. Imani?
You're doing a real good job there.
I know you like to sing. You know, Daddy still wants you to be a scientist, though.
Oh, I wish we had more time, Garland.
No worries.
All right, just a reminder, Dance Flurry this weekend, all weekend long at City Center in Saratoga. Sunday at 1 p.m., Garland is giving a workshop where they're going to talk about a lot of this stuff, and you get to participate, which is really the magic hour.
It's all about sing along, bring your spirit, bring your voices, bring your drums. It's going to be that kind of afternoon.
It was great to see you, pal.
My man, always.
Okay, yes, good. All right, to see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.